Hey there everybody, it's Lance.
And I'm Jeremy.
And we are Hard to Master, and today we are going to be looking at, you want to tell the people?
Skull Canyon Ski Fest.
And this comes from Pandasaurus Games.
He's not biased.
I'm not biased at all. Full disclosure, at the beginning of this video, we want to make sure that everybody is aware that both Jeremy and I are going to be working with Pandasaurus this Gen Con in August. We are going to be helping them run some of their events, and including this game in particular. I'll be there getting to teach it. And so just wanted to throw that out there. It's not going to change our opinion of this game. This video is not sponsored by Pandasaurus, but I do want to be fully honest with you guys as far as what our connection is, our relationship with Pandasaurus Games. So,
and they did send it to us fairly early so that we could review it for you all and get it out there for people to see, since they should be releasing this upcoming month in April. So,
and we are very thankful for them sending us this copy of this game. So yeah. All right, so let's get right into this. Let's take an overhead view, and I'm going to show you how this game works.
All right, so here you can see the board for Skull Canyon Ski Fest, and we have the 2-player side. There is a 3- and 4-player side on the back side of this board. It does have some extra runs that you're going to see over here on this side, and there are going to be some extra places to put your worker as you move from left to right at the end of every round. But for the most part, this is pretty much the same as the other side of the board. And what you are going to be doing in this game, you are going to be taking one of 3 actions. Well, actually, you get 2 actions each time it is your turn. And the actions that you can take are taking 2 cards from over here in the market. There's only going to be 4 cards, but I wanted to make sure that you got to see all 6 different types of cards that there are in the game. You're going to be grabbing any 2 cards that are face up in the market, or you can draw off the top of the deck. The cards, the way they work, you have 3 different basic colors. You've got red, blue, and yellow, and then you have the different types of terrain that you're going to be skiing down throughout the game. You've got off-piste, I think is how you say that. I'm not 100% sure. Slalom, ski cross, moguls, and slope style. And what you're trying to do with these different cards here, you're going to be using them to ski down routes, kind of a la Ticket to Ride, how you use the different cards to claim different routes in that game. And you need them to all be the same type of terrain with the same artwork on them, or all of the same color. And so if you want to ski down a green route, that is going to cost you 2 cards of the same color or the same type of terrain. A blue route is going to cost you 4. And a black route is going to cost you 8. And there is a reminder on the back of your player aid card here, which also does have artwork showing you who you're playing as well as a name. And there's the player aid there that shows you how many cards you need, 2, 4, or 7. Excuse me, I might have said 8. That's how many points you get when you ski that route. 2 for a green route, 4 for a blue route, or 8 for a black route. And then, as well as getting points, you're going to get fame, which is like a currency in the game, and we've kept them up here in trays. You get it in 1s and 3s. You get 1 fame for every green route you ski, 2 for every blue, and 3 for every black route that you ski. There are also Yeti cards in the game that act as wilds, and whenever you see one in the market, if you take that Yeti, that is the only card you're going to be able to take. If you draw it off the top of the deck, lucky you get to take another card after that if the Yeti was your first card. And Yetis can replace any card in a set, whether that be for the color or the terrain type. When you use a Yeti, if it's only 1 Yeti, then you get to move the Yeti figurine here, who is basically going to block a route, and it's going to keep players from being able to ski down that route. You can place it on any route that you want except for Hobbits and Easy Street, as denoted by these icons right here. If you play 2 Yetis in the same set of cards, then you're going to cause an avalanche. You don't get to move the Yeti. The Yeti is going to stay wherever he was at the beginning of your turn, and whether you play your avalanche at the beginning of your turn or after you've skied your route, you're going to cause all the players that are on the mountain to move down one particular route. So for instance, if I'm up here at the top of the mountain, and let's put the green player right here, again, I can do this before I ski the route or after I ski the route, but an avalanche is going to cause everyone to move down one route of their choice that is connected to where they are, and they're not going to get any benefits for moving down that route. They're not going to get any fame. They're not going to get points. They're not going to be able to claim that route, which we'll talk about here in just a second. That's just kind of a way to mess with the other players. It's a little bit of take that. So again, one of the actions you can do is take cards, and you're going to take 2. Another action is you can use those cards to ski down routes, which we already kind of talked about. The third action that you can do on your turn is if you're at the bottom of one of these red lines, you can use a lift to go up to wherever that red line stops. And as you can see, it stops right here. This red line goes all the way up there to the top of the mountain. So those are the 3 things that you're going to be doing on your turn. You get 2 actions, and there are going to be 4 rounds in each day. All players get those 2 actions, and then we're going to move down to the next round. When we get to the end of the day, round 1 round left, you can see here this +1 fame is there to tell you that if you ski a route that takes you to the bottom of the mountain on this round, you're going to get a +1 fame bonus in addition to the fame that you would normally receive for having skied that route. At the end of the day, once everybody gets down to the bottom of the mountain, you're going to put players who've reached the mountain first in the first position. Now, if there's a tie, say both players have made it to the bottom of the mountain at the end of the day, then you're going to do that in player turn order. But otherwise, you would do it whoever's further down the mountain will get to take the first position, and that player will get first pick of their worker placements at the bottom of the mountain. And this is kind of the town, the city that you are going to be using to regather your fame or get more cards, get lift tickets, demolition tokens. We'll talk about it here as we go along this board. The first spot is the hot tub, and you're going to pay 1 card if you come here to gain 3 fame. And if you place there, then the next player is going to have to go to the next spot, as there are no open spots, or at least in a 2-player game there aren't. Going to yodeling, you're going to pay 1 fame to swap any 2 of these route tokens, which we didn't cover, so let's talk about it right now. Whenever you are skiing down one of these routes that has one of these tokens to the side, these tokens match the terrains of the cards that you are using to ski different routes. This one in particular is moguls, and so if I use a set of mogul cards to ski down that route, I get double the fame. So however many fame I was getting, I'm going to times that by 2. This spot right here is going to allow me to swap any 2 of those tokens, as well as gaining a demolition token. Demolition token is going to work in the same way as playing 2 Yetis to cause an avalanche. It's very useful. Coming to happy hour, you're going to discard a card and 2 fame to take 3 cards. And you're going to take that from the face-up cards or the deck. A Yeti is going to count as 2 cards when you do this. The next spot is ski swap. You're going to pay a fame to gain a lift ticket. Lift ticket is exactly what it sounds like. It's going to give you 1 free ride up a lift without having to use an action. The 5th spot that you can go to is let it ride. You're going to pay 1 fame here. You're going to name a color and reveal 3 cards from the deck. Then you're going to add those cards to your hand. And if none of the cards match the color that you named, you get to draw 2 extra cards. So it's a good spot if you don't have very many cards. All players are eventually going to end up at the hotel here. And depending on what the weather is for that particular day, you've got sunny weather, cold weather, and then ice snow weather. You're going to draw cards based off of that weather. The game is always going to start on a sunny day. So you're going to start the game with 7 cards. And then from there, you might get 4 cards for cold weather, 5 cards for icy snow weather. But when you have that type of weather, you're going to start the next round at any one lodge of your choosing that has these snowflakes. You don't have to start at the bottom of the mountain. Otherwise, all other rounds, you do have to start right here. After you gain your cards, then you're going to get a chance to buy 1 and only 1 gear for the next day. You're going to have a small market of 4 gear cards up here that are going to cost a certain number of fame. They're going to give you a number of victory points at the end of the game. And they're going to have some special ability. There's a deck of several different cards here, so obviously we can't cover what all of these cards do. But they're going to give you benefits such as getting 2 extra points if you end at the bottom of the mountain at the end of the day, or stealing runs, which we haven't covered, so let's talk about that. This board over here is going to keep track of who has skied what runs. Whenever you ski down a run and you're the first player to do it, you get to take one of your tokens and cover up whatever run it was that you just skied, such as the fortress run. When you've claimed this run, the next player to come along that wants to ski that run, they can pay just the base cost, which for a green route, again, is 2 cards, or they can try and steal that run from you, paying an extra card for however many tokens are on this spot here to be able to place their token on the top. What this is going to do is, at the end of the game, whichever player controls the most of each different type of run, they're going to score a number of points based on the different colors. So whoever has the most green runs at the end of the game is going to get 8 points. The most blue runs is going to get 6, and the most black runs, they're going to get 4. Also, in addition to all of this, whoever has the most runs in total is going to gain an extra 4 points. At the end of 3 days, after all players have done all of their actions, you're going to score up however many points everyone has, keeping track of this track around the board here. You're going to get points for, obviously, the runs that you've skied, the different gear cards that you have, and the different sets of beginner, advanced, and experts if you are the person who has the majority, as well as the person who scored the most runs. Whoever has the most points is going to be the winner. And you do also get 1 point for every 3 leftover fame that you have at the end of the game. There you have it. Let's go back up and we'll talk about what we think about Skull Canyon Ski Fest.
All right, we're back. And now that you know how this game works, we're going to share our thoughts on Skull Canyon Ski Fest. And so, Jeremy, you and I both went to a con this past weekend here, local con for us. And we got to play this quite a bit at multiple player counts. What were your thoughts on it?
I did enjoy this game. Like I told you, whenever we started playing, there's some different things in it. And as you probably heard in that description of the rules, it does have some elements of a game we might know by T2R.
What's that?
And if you go back and listen to the instructions, and you'll probably know what I'm talking about. But and I even found, you know me, I like to find interesting facts. I'm very observant when I see things and I see how it relates. And I told Lance right away when I was reading the rule book, and he didn't tell you what the action is called to take cards, but that action is called to train. And I just felt like that was maybe a little ode or a pun. Yeah, but I do appreciate that quite a bit. And I thought it was funny. Everybody I told to did not think it was that great. So
they all looked at him weird, like, what are you talking about, man?
I'm like, you don't get it? Train? The mechanism that we're being used here? I mean, come on. But
what did you think about the game?
The game is fun. It is a fun game like I expected. I mean, I enjoyed a snowboard. And so having actual meeple that's snowboarding also, not just skiing, was another
cool.
plus
nice
for
touch.
me, because I don't ski, I snowboard. So,
and you do have artwork here that's representative of that. But you get 2 skiers and 2 snowboarders.
And if you don't know this is from All Grown Up, Rugrats. That's Chucky. He goes by Steezy now.
Changed his name.
But I really enjoyed playing this game. I thought it was fun when we played 2-player, because that's how we played first. Before the con even opened up, we were in the lobby and we were trying it out, and everybody kept walking by like, ooh, what's that? Oh, what's that? Hey, this is a hot new release coming out. And we'd tell them about it, and then we would keep playing, and people just kept stopping, and it will grab your attention.
This was a head turner for sure. We had several people looking at it, wanting to know, asking questions, and it's because it has a nice look to it. The board looks nice. The artwork is great. The theme, though, I can't think of hardly any skiing or snowboarding themed games out there.
As far as the skiing and snowing aspect, I can't think of many. Like I said, Skate Summer is another hot release that's supposed to be coming out
Pandasaurus
later.
Games.
Another one that I did back and I'm very excited to try in the future. And there are a lot of games that probably have to do with a mountain,
Sure.
even an ice mountain. But as far as the aspect of the action of skiing or snowboarding, I couldn't think of any either. So once we heard about this, we were both very excited to try it.
Yeah, for sure.
As you know, we like hard to master games. So sometimes a Ticket to Ride experience. I do have Ticket to Ride Europe. I do enjoy it. It is on my shelf because it is an older game that is held up. But usually we like a little bit more. And so this game gives you a little bit more than Ticket to Ride, but it doesn't make you feel like you're playing something that's going to be 2 hours. It still feels like a game that's going to just be a fun experience and let you relive kind of your past glory days of maybe snowboarding or skiing in the mountains.
Current glory days.
And now you work all the time and you don't ever get to go. So it does help you relive that, and knowing you're going down a black diamond or seeing the different names of the cards and the art. There are a few little tweaks and things that I will bring up, but let Lance give you a little bit more of his thoughts on it before we go into kind of some minor things.
For me, I really enjoyed just about every aspect of this game. You have the route, and it's not really route building, route claiming. So there's a slight difference there between Ticket to Ride and this game, as you're not necessarily, I have this route and it's only mine and you can't use this route. No, somebody can take that route from you. And I really enjoy that battle of having to get routes, and then somebody takes it from you, and now you've got to change your plans and go back to get that route again. Do I want to do that because I've been working on some other things? That's a good, nice tug and pull with this particular board over here. I also enjoyed this kind of separate aspect to the game. It's almost like a little bit of a mini game that you've got going on down here. Worker placement, action selection a little bit. And you really have to be smart about how you play this out, because you don't want to move too fast down this, because whoever's at the back of the line they're going to be able to swoop up all these benefits and be very strong for the next turn. At the same time, you don't want to take too long and get down here last, because then you're not going to get best pick at what the gear is available. So I enjoyed mixing both of these different mechanics to make this one game that has a lot of similarities to Ticket to Ride, but it feels...
You're supposed to say T2R.
T2R, whatever. But it feels incredibly different. It feels unique, and quite honestly, it feels modern and fresh, and something I would be absolutely thrilled to pull out and say, hey, look, check this game out. This is going to knock your socks off. If you like Ticket to Ride, it's going to knock your socks off.
That's pretty much what we were saying at the convention. I would say the only thing that really makes you think Ticket to Ride is the card collecting train action. Other than that, everything's different. And it's very thematic, because you will go up a lift, you will ski down the mountain, and then when you get to the end of the day, I told Lance it's like hours.
Yeah.
So each zone is like 2 hours. So if you're skating, or you could even think of 1 hour and you're just going down you go up one lift, and then you ski down a route, and then you maybe ski another area that's a different area at the mountain where you would go skiing or snowboarding. And then at the end of the day, you think about when you go on these trips, you go back to town and you go
to the hot tub.
If you look, you go to the hot tub, yodeling, and then happy hour. You've really maximized your evening right there.
I don't know about yodeling. I might take that one out. That might happen after happy hour.
They started drinking in the hot tub. They were yodeling on the way to happy hour, and then they did a ski swap. They let it ride, whatever that means.
I don't know if I want to know what that
gambling
means.
in the lodge. But then if you get back to the hotel
Everything
late,
ends up back at the hotel.
I mean, if you think if you've been out late and you know you've got to go up and get up early in the morning and go skiing again or snowboarding,
you're gonna get a late start.
Yeah, you might be a little bit tired or drained, and you might not have the equipment that maybe you wanted.
Yeah.
You know, we're showing you a 2-player board here, and on the other side, you got to think there's, in a 2-player game, you're gonna have more options to get cards. I mean, we can tell you from a 2 and a 3 to 4-player experience, it's quite a bit different, and we'll talk about the other side in a second. But in a 2-player game, you're gonna have 3 options for cards, if not 4, if you're the first one to go get cards. In a 3 and 4-player game, which I'll hit on even more in a second, but you could be down to seeing 1 card, and that's the one you have to choose, and you may not have the fame to do it. Even if you've went to these spots and slow played because everybody jumps out ahead of you in the worker placement or action selection area, well, you might still not have enough depending on what cards are out there, and we'll talk about that in a second. But this also has the aspect of area control.
It does,
or area
yeah.
majority, because you want to maximize, not all of these. Any game we talked to you about, you can't be tunnel vision minded and focus on one. You do want to spread it a little bit, and we would both probably suggest to go for maybe 2 of these max. Don't try to get all 3.
Yeah.
You might be able to, but it would be, I think, a fluke or pretty lucky. I think
You'd have to be
focusing
playing
on
against
2,
somebody who's not very skilled if they're able to give you all 3. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you are going to think about those things, but I'll let you start with little tweaks that you might do, and some of mine. So
sure. Yeah, I think for me, really, the only things about this game that are some cons. The 4-player game feels a tad bit long. It does kind of feel like the 3-player for me is a better spot than the 4-player game. Game works fantastic at 2 players. It just, with 4 players, there's a little bit more take that, which I'm okay with the avalanches and knocking people down the mountain and kind of messing up their plans. He did that a lot.
All the time, yeah.
I'm okay with that. There were a few people we played with that I could tell they were pretty upset about that sort of thing. It really kind of ruined their plans, and that's going to happen in games, and you just got to work with that and come up with a new plan. You don't have that happen as much in a 3 or 2-player game because you're not going to have the likelihood that a lot of Yetis are going to come out, because you increase the player count, you're going to cycle through cards more often, meaning Yetis are going to come out more often. So you're not going to have as many avalanches happening.
No, I think I did it to you the same amount.
You did it to me a lot. He jacked with my plans a lot in this game.
You have to.
You do.
With Ticket to Ride, you can block somebody, and that's about it. And with Europe, you have the ability to use their trolley station to account for that. In this, by playing Yetis, you could block somebody, and if they have Yetis, they can still, like I blocked somebody in a 4-player game. There is a lift that comes up here. Routes are a little bit different. So he had come up to the top one to try and take my spot. Well, what did I do? I used a Yeti, put it in front of him. And what does he do on his turn? He has Yetis in his hand. He plays 1 in addition to his cards to ski that lift anyways, and moves the Yeti. So you can do things, but you can still get an escape out if you've planned to take that route.
It does require some skilled planning to find a strategy to work out around the take that in this game, but it can be done. It's not a game breaker by any means. You want to be aware that that's got something going on in this game.
And it's fun when you do your route and you knock everybody down because you know they're about to take your route. You want to maximize those.
Or it's the end of the day and you take the 1 fame bonus away from him.
And especially if he has the hot chocolate card, which he's got in both games, and you take that 2 points away from him.
You get 2 points at the end of the day.
It's so satisfying to do that. And it's not, I wouldn't say, it's not a major take that. You do take that to keep them from skiing your route. You don't want them. It wasn't as much about this as more of I didn't want them to take my green route, or I didn't want them to take my blue advanced
The take
route.
that in this game is very strategic.
It's tactical.
It's
very
tactical.
tactical.
It's not just because I want to screw you over and make this game a horrible experience for you. It's because I want to save some of the stuff that you're about to take from me. So it totally makes sense. And when you think of it in that nature,
it could be screw you though.
Well, it could be. It could. Yeah, it totally
Jeremiah
could be.
would screw us big time.
But, more often than not, the person's going to be doing it to you for a reason, and it makes sense, and it eases the pain a little bit, I suppose. But, Jeremy, what about for you? What are some of the nicks that you have with this game? So
mine are minor. One would be, I know that these match the skull for Skull Canyon, but I wish the fame tokens were a little bit more appealing.
Yeah. I can agree with that.
And that's a minor gripe. As you know, I've said a minor thing about that with the coins in Dinosaur World. And I feel like with all the other graphic design, that was just one thing that it makes total sense. But it's just, I feel like it's one thing that maybe doesn't look as nice as the rest.
It stands out and not in a good way. Everything else about the game pops.
With Lance hasn't told you, but this for him was really hard to understand. And
the
it
artwork
makes sense.
on it,
It's just a little doodly versus, and then the Yeti looks like it was graphically designed.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with it. It's perfectly functional and it still looks good. I'm just saying those couple things look slightly out of place with some of the other artwork, just like Chaz. The only other thing that I feel needs a slight tweak, and I will tell you from a fourth player position, because I was the last to play, I was the last turn in a 4-player game. It will not keep you from winning the game. It is not a major deficit and thing that you have to overcome. But I would say, because in a game, you're going to have 3 days. So that means the fourth player will not get a chance to go first, which means they could get blocked out of a space over here. And it could come to the point where, say everybody went to the hotel first and skipped everything. They're going to get all the cards, and as you see here, we have the Heated Gloves, which is a 8 fame card to get. And in our game, and it's not a big deal, like I said, I was 1 fame short of that, and that was the only card choice that I had to choose. And I did get blocked off from some different places over here, and it was all because of turn order, because we all skied or snowboarded down the mountain at the last round to get this bonus, which kept us all here. And that means if you're 4th player, you are automatically, if everybody goes to the same spot or if everybody took the card, be shut out. And it's not a major thing. I don't think you need anything crazy like an explosive charge or a lift ticket. I think that if you play a 4th player game, the 4th player, because they don't get a chance to go first in the game, and they also would not get a chance to go last, as Lance was, I'd love to go last. Well, you're last, but you're last at a time where you don't have anything to use.
You're last at the beginning of the round.
So the next round, whoever's third, you would be third, and then whoever was first, they're last. So if they get one of these and they're last, well, now they have a major benefit in last where you did not.
And I think it should be said, too, that more often than not, or at least what we experienced in our games, almost everybody does want to make it to the bottom of the mountain at the end of the day to get the bonus. And so it's going to be turn order. It's going to be turn order more likely than not when you get to this bottom part of the board.
So I would propose, and I don't know how the designers feel about this or what they come up with, but from our games, I would think that at minimum, and probably the most likely thing, is that 4th player gets 1 fame to start. I'm not saying that they need a whole bunch of stuff, but when you're doing that and you're 1 fame short of that card, and it's all because of that, so you don't get a card to start. And it's all because of just a schwazi finger on there to see who goes first.
Or however you determine first player.
Exactly. That's the one thing. on the flip side, you could do 2 cards, but I think 1 fame token is not going to make or break the game. It's not going to give you a huge advantage. It's not going to give you, no advantage. But I think not having that 4th player in a 2 and 3 player game, that's not going to be a problem because everybody goes at least once first.
Yeah.
So you have that opportunity to do that. I think it's just that. And in a 2 player game, though, 1 person goes first twice. It wasn't a major difference because it was.
I think in a 2 player game, it's pretty even.
The 4 player game that's the one thing where I strongly think that you would take a fame token, and I'd love for Jason Klinke, might be saying that wrong, or Kit Noshesi. I apologize for the pronunciation, but feel free to comment in how that came up with, and if that is a suitable adjustment for a 4-player game.
Yeah.
But that's, if I played a 4-player game, I don't mind the take that. I don't mind that it took an hour versus 45 minutes. I enjoyed the 4-player game. That's the one thing, though. I found that I thought strongly that there should have been a minor adjustment there, and that's the only thing that I found wrong in a 4th-player game.
Well, let's get into our ratings on this one and wrap this video up for you guys. I'm going to go first and let you guys know that we played a ton of games this past weekend at the con that we were at. And for me, this was the one that stood out the most to me. It was one that after we ended it, I wanted to know when we could play it again. I absolutely really enjoyed this one. I think it's going to be a great love to hate kind of game even. And if you're not familiar with what I mean by that, if you've watched any of our other videos on the love to hate side of things, that's where we play games with casual and non-gamers, people who don't typically play deep heavy games or big strategy thinky games. I think this is a game that can work perfect in that setting because it's simple rules, simple idea of what you want to do. It doesn't take huge strategic thinking. Light theme, and so I think it would work very well on that side. So for me, this is going to get big reviews on my end. I'm going to give this game probably an 8.2. I very much really enjoyed it. One that I would be happy to play again, and one that I'm going to be happy to teach anybody who's going to come to Gen Con later this year. So really enjoyed it.
I probably liked it a little bit more than you, I think.
Okay.
I do like the fun nature of it. It is a fun game.
Yeah.
And that's what I could say when we finished our first one and we were telling people about it and trying to get people, to play it and get it more out there, was it's fun. Like, you feel like, it makes sense what you're doing.
It's super thematic. Yeah.
Boarding down the mountain and then spending time in town and then going back out the next day, doing it again, and the weather may have changed overnight. Collecting fame and trying to be the most prestigious person out there, but it's not just about fame, it's about points too. So I'm a little bit higher than you. I would say this is probably about an 8.5 for me.
Okay.
Just because I feel like I could keep playing it, and it gives me that new theme or not very used theme of boarding. And like I said, it was kind of like I told you, it was going to be kind of like the filler until Skate Summer came, because I'm super pumped for that.
Maybe this one takes the spotlight.
I don't know. Skate
you have to
Summer.
play Skate Summer
looks
first to find
awesome. Tony Hawk, the board game, and so this being that it's a very similar theme but played in a totally different kind of game.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about balance and stuff. So this is not only holding that place until then, but who knows when it gets here.
It holds its ground.
They may both be right there with each other. I'm super pumped even more for that.
Let's get the box back out here to close this out. So,
Chaz, Steezy. Steezy Chucky.
All right, there you have it. That was our thoughts on Skull Canyon Ski Fest. That's got a lot of words in there. I want to make sure I get that right. It is from Pandasaurus Games, and it is coming out in the very near future. Make sure to check that out. Let us know what you think. Hit that like button down below, comment, subscribe, and check out all of our other stuff. I'm Lance.
I'm Jeremy.
And we are Hard to Master, where we take a look at games that are hard to master. We'll catch you next time.
See ya.